Come join us as we take you on a trip from the practice pen to the show arena and let you listen in as top trainers prepare their students to compete in the Western industry's most exciting equine sport. Then you'll learn what it takes to become a top 18 cutter.
Brought to you by Midway Forage.
Perfection starts with the perfect forage. Perfectly grown, perfectly processed. No waste, no GMOs, no additives. All natural. The perfect forage for your horse is Select Way Premium Alfalfa Cubes. Just perfect. Contact us directly at midwayforage.com. Hey folks, welcome to the show this week. I'm Kenny Emai, your host of Cuttin Up. This week's episode is brought to you by Midway Forage. Remember, no GMO, no preservatives, all natural. Some of the finest alfalfa cubes that you could possibly feed your performance horse. Go to www.midwayforage.com. Now we're going to go to West Monroe, Louisiana, to the Ike Hamilton Event Center. A lot of great cuttings have gone on in that house. We're going to start it off before we show you some highlights from the aged events and talk to a couple of significant ladies in our industry. They have put tons of thought into something called the class leveling structure. What this is a pilot program put on at the Cotton Stakes Classic with Robert Charles Brown to test out how this would work. Now listen to what Miss Denise Size and Miss Ora Deal have to say explaining the class leveling there at the Ike Hamilton. Then we're going to show you some highlights from the aged events. Well, here we are at the Ike Hamilton Event Center in West Monroe, Louisiana at the Cotton Stakes Classic. I'm here with my friends, Miss Denise Size and Miss Ora Deal. They have been instrumental in getting this new class leveling system down pat, at least to the point they thought it's worth trying. And so far, so good. We are in about the 5th day of the show. Is that right, ladies?
That's right. That's right.
And I'm just going to start with one of you, Denise. In the 5th day of this show, at what point did you know that this was going to be such a huge success?
Seeing all the vehicles, all the RVs in the parking lots, all the stalls being filled up, all the smiles, all the people that had not seen each other for years, we thought we were onto something.
Now, speaking of that, last year, Miss Ora, how many entries were there in the aged event here at the Cotton Stakes Classic?
307.
And as of today, the 5th day, what's the count?
753 in just the aged event.
Just the aged event.
Just the aged event.
And again, this year also has the full slate of classes, weekend classes, every night, which that has brought, how has that jumped in numbers?
Well, I think Denise better has that number.
Well,
Just
in the 4 nights so far, they've had 428 works, which I don't know how that compares to last year, but that puts us in total over almost 1,200, over 1,200 entries.
Yeah. They're pushing them.
You
And
know,
we're not done yet.
I know that I heard about it last year, and it darn sure wasn't going till 4 o'clock in the morning every morning
No, sir.
last year.
No, sir.
And that's what they're doing
Yes,
here.
sir.
This is actually the first night that it's gotten started a little earlier.
Yes.
They've been starting about 10 o'clock at
10
night.
o'clock at night.
Yeah. Just in the aged event, there's like 446 additional entries, which is about 145%
Yeah.
growth.
Yep.
You know, do you think because the West Texas Futurity just ended before this one started, are you seeing a lot of West Texas faces?
There were people that drove from Amarillo here. There were people that drove when they wrapped up at Idaho to get here. So we have people from
All over.
all over the place. I believe we had people from Oklahoma that were just spectating
Yes.
to see what this leveling class structure was all about. And everybody is excited about it.
All right, so I'm gonna, for the benefit of the audience, I'm gonna ask you as a layman, how does the class leveling system work to make it to where it's more of an even playing field for me as an amateur cutter?
Well, it's pretty simple. The levels are based on the rider's lifetime earnings. The NCHA has 3 divisions, and there's 3 levels within each division. Our divisions are, of course, the open, the non-pro, and the amateur. Within each one of those divisions, there's the limited, which is our entry level class. And what's important about that is that means a rider can enter and compete in that class that's new to cutting and not feel intimidated, because it's a protected class that once you've exceeded, or once you meet the maximum amount in money won in that division, you can't ever go into it. So you're going to be competing against your peers in the limited.
Exactly.
In the next level is the intermediate. Again, it's based on your lifetime earnings. And then you have the top level in every division for the more successful rider that is eligible in that particular division. So it gives you an opportunity to truly level the playing field, compete against your peers, and the beauty of it is if you want to compete against riders that are above you, won more money, or in a tougher division. The amateur can enter up into the non-pro if they choose to. The non-pro can, if they choose to enter into the open, they can enter into the open. It's up to them.
When they feel like
they've got the horsepower,
they've got the
confidence.
the experience.
Yep.
When they feel ready.
When they feel ready, not
the
forced.
way it's been in the past that jump in there, do it, you're going to get better.
Yeah.
But you're going to get beat a lot until you get to that point.
Yes.
And you get to make that choice now. If you want to, we call it enter up. If you feel confident, you feel like you got the horsepower, and if you're an amateur and you want to compete in the non-pro, compete in the non-pro. We're not going to make you, we're just going to offer it to you.
Kenny, what's so good about it is these horses that I call them B and C students. They're not at that top level of performance, but yet they've had the same training, they've had the same amount of time put on them, they've got the same amount or same age, but you had nowhere to take them.
Right.
Not only is it 2-legged, but it's 4-legged. You can take a rider on one of those students and take them and come here and play.
On an even playing field.
On an even playing field.
So folks don't get discouraged being what we've always considered added money, because I've went through dry spots where I felt like, yeah, I'm going to go. I need to show my horse, although I know I'm going to be added money. Now I actually can go and can choose and can compete with people that have the same type of lifetime earnings that I have.
Yep,
sir.
yep. And you mentioned the dry spell. We took that into consideration too. We've got what we call 3 special rules. One of them is called the revolving door. And let's say that you have won enough money that puts you in the highest level of your division, the amateur, non-pro, or open. But you haven't had a good year, or you're in a little bit of a dry spell. Well, we've got what they call the revolving door. And if you have won, or rather, if you are in the top 100 rider list in any division for the previous point year, then you are not eligible, or you are eligible to roll down into the intermediate. So if you've had a bad spell,
or not the horsepower,
or you took a break and
couldn't
hurt
show
your
for a while
hand,
or something.
or had a baby, or
Had a
something.
baby,
There you go. So
Absolutely. Grandbabies.
Yeah, grandbabies.
Grandbabies. So
Yes,
you
yes.
have an opportunity to roll down to the intermediate level, and you can compete against the intermediate riders. Now, one thing you can't do is you can't go down to the limited, because that's protected. That's for our entry riders that are cutting their teeth, and you don't belong down there.
Hallelujah.
In
That
the-
is
the
great.
limited level.
Yes, sir.
So the revolving door, we feel like, is going to help those people that had that great horse last year, and they don't have the great one this year, but boy, they're still wanting to go down there, but their confidence is a little low. So the revolving door helps that. The other thing that we put in place was what we call is the senior exception. When a rider turns 70, regardless of their total lifetime earnings, they can roll down to the intermediate level. It's no secret, the membership base of the NCHA is an older group.
Sure.
And so we want to make sure those individuals that hit that number have an opportunity to compete in the intermediate.
But remember, they can't go down to that protected level
Nope.
either.
Nope.
Right.
Regardless. Regardless.
Regardless of the age.
Yes,
Regardless,
that's correct.
regardless of the age.
Because I mean, it's sooner or later, we all are going to get up there in
yeah.
years,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
the reflexes and
Yep.
the thought process is going to slow down a little bit, but
And then-
we can still play.
Exactly. And finally, the last rule that we thought was important to put in this leveling structure was what we call the money earning cap. We have amateurs, and every amateur is a non-pro by definition, okay? Just like every amateur non-pro by definition is an open rider.
Right.
But if an amateur has won $250,000 or more in the non-pro division, a division above what their rider eligibility starts them in, then they can't double dip. They have to choose. I'm either going to show in the amateur or I'm going to show in the non-pro. You can't do both. What we want to make sure is that we don't have people that have been successful in a higher division taking money from a lower division. The
Yes.
same thing happens in the non-pro and open. If you have a non-pro rider and he has won $250,000 or more in the open division,
Right.
we're going to say, okay, it's time for you to declare whether you're going to just show in the non-pro or just show in the open. You can't compete in both because you've proven to us, to the membership, that you can be competitive in the open if you've won $250,000
Sure.
up there. So maybe you don't need to compete in the non-pro. But rather than force you, we're going to ask you what you'd like to do. You can go in one or the other. We're not going to force you. That's our current money earnings cap rule.
That is a whole lot better way to approach the money cap, is, giving members options.
Yes.
And instead of, by God, this is what you're going to do. You're going to do it today,
Yep.
and that's how you're going to do it from now on. And so it's a little warmer and friendlier to our membership as a whole.
Yes.
And I think that this is a great deal. This is gonna bring so many people. Like, for instance, last month 138,000 people watched this show. If 10% of them saw this and thought, I'm gonna go back to it or I'm gonna try it. If 10% join the NCHA next month and you want to come back in and try it, open arms, this is a great way for you to do it and not feel like you're jumping into a den of wolves. That you can compete against your peers that are on your level and have fun doing it.
And Kenny, I think this is one really cool statistic that I want to share with everybody.
Okay.
We're just now wrapping up the LAE open classes. Last year, there were 41 checks cut in the Futurity Open, Derby Open, and Classic Open classes. 41 checks.
41 checks in 3 divisions.
This year, because of the leveling, we're cutting 103 checks. 62 more checks means 62 more people are getting checks just in the open division. So it's not like you don't have a chance to get a check, because you do, because you're competing against your peers.
All of those trainers that aren't competing or regularly competing at the top level, we'll call them intermediates.
Or limited.
Guys that are limited, guys that are
Yes.
just maybe have just recently thrown out their shingle.
Well,
Yeah.
my
And-
2-year-old boy came showing the same horses that Curry's showing in the intermediate. Not only did he enter up in the intermediate, but Curry would enter up into the open. So it helps all levels. But what it really helps is that horse that I would have left at home and never ever brought here, because it could not compete in just the regular open.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So not only are horses renting stalls
Yes.
that normally would have stayed home,
Working the flag.
intermediate
Yes.
and
Doing it all.
and up and coming trainers.
Yes.
We're not talking about the $1 million heroes in our industry. We're
No,
talking about
sir.
up and coming trainers
Yeah.
who have clients
Yes.
and can now bring them and their intermediate horses to an aged event and compete and win money. That's got to be exciting, not just for that trainer, but his client base.
Yes.
Look at how he can open the doors of his barn up to so many more people that can come and play and have fun in an NCHA aged event. It's amazing.
There were people that came here just because of the leveling. They would not have come because
They didn't have a place to
They
compete.
didn't have
They didn't have a
to-
place to come.
they didn't have a place to compete.
Now, here we are on, what is today, September 5th, 6th, something like that, 5th. We've got a couple more days of this show. All these statistics and these numbers are going to go to Bailey Avenue. And then I'm sure the executive committee and all the officers there are going to be looking at this, because they use this as a model
Sure.
child for this
This was our test
class
show.
leveling.
That's
Probably
right.
the first time ever that we've tested something to this length to make a decision. Decisions in the past have been made right then. These aren't numbers that are pulled out of the air, they're facts. And it's hard not to see the facts that are good. So,
And this is just based on numbers up until now. We've still got a couple more days, but up until right now, 145% increase.
yes, sir. And 151% increasing in checks that are written.
You can't argue with those numbers.
They're not double digit, they're triple digits.
This is, so they've got some numbers to look at, and we all know that they want hard facts in black and white. Nobody guesstimating, nobody thinking this is what may or may not happen. Hard facts to make decisions with.
Yes, sir.
And that's how they can come to, I wouldn't see this being a decision that the entire executive committee would have to deliberate on very long at all.
Well, I think that our powers that be are taking the right approach. I think that they're studying it, they're proving it, and I think that the membership will be the one that tells us this is what we want. This is where we want to go.
And I
For
think
once.
if you had to guess, and I know we're all guessing, but just say that, this gets blessed off. It's got to get blessed off on with these kind of numbers. We know that Robert Charles he'll already know exactly what he's going to do again next year.
Yes, sir.
How fast do you think this is going to take off across the country?
I think once the hard facts, once the statistics get out to
Yeah.
the other show producers,
Okay.
and there's several show producers that have been watching
And looking.
very closely. We've been sharing numbers with them because they've been curious. They were part of our pilot studies when we were doing this on previous shows to see what it looked like. And those pilot studies got us to this point that it was worth a chance to try. So this thing has been vetted on past shows. Now we're going through our phase of let's test it live and see what happens. And I think, you know, and I shouldn't name the other show producers, but there's big shows and smaller shows that are geographically spread all over the United States that want to try this, which is a good thing. That's the way to really vet this thing to make sure it works. But if the Cotton States is any indication, if the people out there in the arena are any indication, this thing is gonna take off.
There's a lot of smiling people out there.
I haven't been to a cutting in a long time that's had as many happy people as I've seen here.
The very first analogy was there's this excitement in the air again.
Yeah.
You can't help but feel it.
And you know,
Can't
we
help but
want
feel it.
input, we want feedback. So we actually have an exit survey, and we've said, tell us. You know, it's 5 or 6 of questions, yes or no. But then at the bottom of us, give us the good, bad, and ugly. And people are excited to tell us how they feel. There's some constructive criticism, and we want to hear that too, because this thing isn't perfect. We know it probably needs to be tweaked somewhat.
Sure, everything does.
So tell us. And you know what? They like being a part of that. And
You know, but
that
the
gives
great-
them ownership in it.
You know what the great tweaking that this probably is going to need is how the Ike Hamilton is going to come up with more stalls next year.
Yeah.
Agree with you there.
Well, you know, that is a real show producer concern is, my goodness, what are we creating? You know, how can we get 4,000 or 5,000 cattle rounded up to handle a show like this?
Yeah, because you went through you'll go through 4,000
Yeah.
easy
Yes,
at
sir.
this show.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And the Ike Hamilton's got what, 750 stalls?
740.
740? And they're having to use 60 other stalls in Monroe
Yes, sir.
to carry the overflow.
Yeah.
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 And there's no room to park in the parking lot.
No. No.
And the hotels, there's 4 or 5. I mean, there's probably 7 or 8 hotels right here within rock throwing distance. They've got to be loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a win-win.
It's good for West Monroe. It's good for the
Yeah.
Ike Hamilton. It's good for Robert Charles Brown. It's good for the NCHA. I haven't heard anything or seen anything bad about it. So
No.
congratulations,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Robert Charles Brown.
Oh, yes.
Listen, without him, this would not have been possible, and we could not thank him
The
enough.
faith
Oh,
that he
oh,
put
yes.
into this.
Hey,
Yes.
listen.
And you know, he told me last year, he said, I had to put money in it. And he said, I can't keep doing that. We got to try something. And that was his, he came to us at convention and
Yeah.
said, you know, I'm in. Will you let me try it? Let me test it. We're like, you bet. Get after
What a
it.
great gamble
Yeah.
on Robert Charles
Yeah,
Brown's part.
absolutely.
The NCHA had better send him a big fat Christmas card.
I hear you.
Thank you, ladies. I
You
really
bet.
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Kenny.
I love you both.
You
You're
bet.
doing
Me too.
great. Robert Charles is our hero here at the Cotton Stakes from West Monroe. We've also got some other action to show you. We've got a little highlights from some aged event stuff, and we're going to show you some of the weekend cutting going on, so don't go anywhere. Well, here we are in West Monroe, Louisiana at the Cotton Stakes Classic. This is the non-pro 3-year-old maturity. Starting us off is Mr. Ty Moore on Backstreet Cat. Ty's from Medill, Oklahoma. Walks into the herd looking for his first cow. Got nothing but fresh cows to look at. Got his eye on this black heifer. Him and Backstreet Cat are going to work. Real pretty moving little horse. His help's doing a good job keeping that black cow in play. Ty finds him a good spot to quit, and he's going to go in for his next one. Now they've obviously shown this horse at some smaller futurities. It's already won $3,323 in lifetime earnings. The futurity is only for 3-year-old horses, and everybody showing here is a non-pro. He's got that black one in his sights, throws his hand down and goes to work. Little Brangus heifer. Not really pushing on his horse too good, so he decides to go back and get him a third one with about 21 seconds left on the clock. Ideal amount of time. Obviously, Ty is well versed in time management himself, winning over $1 million in the show pen. This red Baldy is what he's got his eye on. Gets his hand down with 2 or 3 seconds. Going to finish up his run with a little bit of a miss there. But that's okay. These 3-year-olds are just babies. They got a long career ahead of them. They mark him a 210. And we get ready for our next rider, which is Miss Jessica Pierce, riding Hot Pockets. Miss Jessica herself has won well over $200,000. Hot Pockets has already won about $2,000 in the show pen. Some of these 3-year-olds make the rounds and hit all the smaller futurities. Miss Pierce from Osaka, Mississippi. Looking at that paint cow. And it's going to leave itself in a good spot for her to get her hand down. Working it right there in the middle. The judges like to see that. Hot Pocket's doing a good job. She's probably wishing she had a little bit more cow, so she goes in for her next one. Now, when you've won $200,000 or better, like Ms. Pierce has done, you understand what kind of cow you need to get your 3-year-old shown in front of the judges to get to the pay window. She's eyeballing that red Baldy right now, and if it will keep itself in a good spot, she's going to get it cut. She does a good job getting that cow cut. A little bit better cow. Hot Pockets is looking bright. Maybe a little faster cow than she wanted right off the bat. She had a little miss. That made her decide it was time to go ahead and get off that one. 17 seconds left. She's going to cut this black one and finish up her run with about 10 seconds left. This little cow's got a little more gas to it. She might have been wishing the first 2 cows would have had a little more gas to it like her last one, but a 209, and she got her 3-year-old shown. She's got to be happy with that. Next up's a 3rd generation cutter named Cade Shepherd from Summerdale, Alabama, sired by the great Austin Shepherd, grandsired by the great Sam Shepherd. Long line of champions this boy comes from. Himself won near $700,000 Quite an accomplishment for a man his age. His whole family cuts. His little sister Kaylee, she cuts. His dad Austin's out there helping him too. Cade's looking at a big black mott, probably the biggest one in the herd. That's the one he likes. He gets his hand down, he goes to work. I believe this young man has just got talent oozing out of him. Probably doesn't realize how much talent he's got. But as he gets older, I guarantee you we're all going to get to see it. He gets off that big old mott. We'll get ready to go get him another one. Craig Thompson's got him one pointed out. Can't quite see what they're pointing at now from my vantage point, but Cade's got his eye on it. One of them backs or that black brown, and that's it. That brown black, he's got it dialed in. It got a little traffic. Help gets it cleared away. Gets his hand down, he goes to work. Light-headed is a cool looking little low-headed horse. Today's judges like that. Getting that cow stopped on both ends. Gets over there and stops that cow. Gets over there and stops that cow. Gets over there and stops that cow. That's just picture perfect. What a fine young man from a fine family. Marked him a 216 and worked 2 cows. Dad's got to be congratulating him on that. Next up is a young lady named Missy Jean Eldridge from Corinth, Mississippi. Missy's riding Lean on Manny. Missy herself won almost $350,000. Lean on Manny's already got $812.40 under his belt. Missy's looking at that big black baldy right there. She's going to drive it out, get her hand down, and go to town. Lean on Manny is a bright looking horse, kind of a fast cow for her. Maybe wants to control one a little bit better in the middle of the pen. She's quite an accomplished showman herself and can sure get a good one shown. Her help's got her looking for one. She's trying to get one pushed up right where she wants it. Make a good clean cut. She's looking at that big brown. She wants to get it cut right in the middle of the pen. Get that little black out of the way. Her help gets her some help. And the little black just wants to jump back in there with her. Now they got it cleaned up and she can go to work. Missy rides a horse well, shows a horse well. Horse has been trained well. She gets off that big brown. She's going to go finish up her run with 22 seconds, 20 seconds. That's perfect time management. It's what you kind of want to be cutting your third cow with, 20 seconds on the clock. She gets out there and she's looking at that red cow is what she's looking at, I believe. Yep, that's what she's going to cut. Gets her hand down. Finishes up her run real clean. She had a little trouble on that second one. They just mothered up on her, meaning that two cows paired up and wouldn't give her a clean cut on the cow she wanted. But Lean On Manny, her horse, looked really well, and she's grinning. They marked her a 204. That's Jessie Pritchard, her trainer, helping her and talking to her as they leave the pen. Next up is another lady that is no stranger to the cutting pen, Miss Nadine Payne, the wife of a very successful horse trainer and showman by the name of James Payne. He's sitting down there in the corner waiting on her to get there. They're already talking about some cows. Miss Nadine and James are from Overbrook, Oklahoma. She's already won over $500,000. Desires a Gun is the horse. He's already made some smaller futurities and won almost $6,000. So he's got some show experience as a 3-year-old. It's got to make it easy when you can show a horse as well as Miss Nadine. James has got her cows picked out. He's told her about that black one. She paid attention, gets her hands down, goes to work. And her husband can sure train one. Now I want you to watch this little horse right here, Desires a Gun, because that is a James Payne trained horse, I'm sure. She gets off that black one. She's listening to her help about what cow to cut next. When you want $500,000 like she has, there are no nerves in the herd. She's cool as a cucumber. She's listening to her help. She knows what she wants to cut. Her horse feels her confidence, and that flows right through. And that's how you have a successful run. That black Brangus on the top is what she's eyeballing. Hand down, she's going to work. Getting over there, stopping that cow. Getting over there, stopping that cow. Doing a good job. Little Brangus, a little soft, but is a good cow. She gets off that one. Going to finish up her run. See if she can take a big fat check back to Oklahoma with her. Brings up sufficient amount of cattle to satisfy the judges. She's got that black one, drives him out, throws her hand down, gonna finish up right there. Good job, Miss Nadine. Nice horse. $215's what they marked her. Gonna have her up there in the top end. Now these are the highlights from this class. It's not quite everybody, but we're gonna show you some of the runs that folks really got along. This young man comes with some history. He is the son of two very successful cutters. Mr. Phil Rapp is his dad. Cutting's highest money winning rider in history. His mom, Miss Marianne Rapp, very, very successful non-pro. Ryan himself has already won almost $200,000. Get Drunk and Trashy is the horse, and he's cutting his first cow. Gets over there and stops that cow. Gets over there and stops that cow. Gets over there and stops that cow. That's what it's all about right there. Rider and horse doing a job as one. Good job, Ryan, on that first cow. He's going back helps telling him about his next cow. Get Drunk and Trashy is the horse. Ryan Rapp, the rider. He knows what cow he wants. They've talked to him. They've talked about the cows. He's got it dialed in. He's looking at that Charlet. Gets his hand down, and cow number 2 is working. You can already tell this young man is just going to have a lot of success in the show pen. He gets off that Charlet, going to go finish up his run. Great time management skills. As a young man, he's already got that down pat, but he's already won $200,000, so no doubt that he's got those skills. He's going to finish up his run right here. If he can get that black separated before the buzzer. Didn't quite get it done, but he's going to finish up very well with his 3-year-old. But I guarantee you, knowing this boy, he's going to be grinning. He marked him at 212. And that concludes our highlights for 3-year-old non-pro futurity at the Cotton Stakes Classic.
I'm Jordy Brown here at the Cotton Stakes in West Monroe, Louisiana, and Cuttin Up will be right back after these few messages.
The rural American lifestyle. It's how we work, and it's how we play. It's how we learn and how we enjoy the finer things in life. How we take care of our animals and tend to the land. It's a way of life. Has been for hundreds of years. Now there's a whole new way for rural America to watch TV. You know, insurance is a daily part of our lives. We insure ourselves, we insure our trucks, we insure our trailers. Roger Peters Livestock Insurers is where you go. Roger Peters Livestock Insurers has been an agent for Great American Insurance for over 35 years. Remember, no vet checks up to $100,000. Whether it's a private treaty sale or a catalog sale. Call Connie or Stacy at this number and get yourself some peace of mind and insure your performance horse with Roger Peters Livestock Insurers.
But Symbiont helps us reduce, if not eliminate, our worries on EHV1, E. coli, Salmonella, Staph, Listeria, and H1N1. You can't ask for much more than that.
Hey everybody, Kenny E. My Business Development Manager for Farm and Ranch TV. Now available, Roku, Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Android TV, our website, farmandranch.tv, on all your tablets and smartphones, Apple, Android, doesn't matter. You'll be able to see us any way you want. Farm and Ranch TV, the future of rural programming.
Hi, I'm Tom Holt here at the Cotton Stakes in West Monroe, Louisiana, and welcome back to Cuttin Up.
Well, here I am with Casey Green at the Ike Hamilton in West Monroe, Louisiana. Casey, thank you for joining me.
Yes, sir.
Now, you just came from West Texas.
Yes, sir.
And you were doing a good job for them ladies talking about this show and how it was going to work. And I know, you know, you're like everybody else. You had doubts how it was going to work out.
Sir.
How do you think it turned out?
I think it's been great, Kenny. I think the sport in general needs some excitement, like we've talked, and I think anything we can do to build that is good. And I think this does that for sure. But in the same sense, it builds excitement because it allows a lot of people to come show, and a lot of people that weren't coming to show to start with, and that, whether it's excitement or just an opportunity, that's what we need. And participation grows the sport. I think, you know, we all talk about what we need to grow the sport, but you got to get people here to grow the sport and start from there.
And you got lots of people here. I mean, entries were up 100, as of yesterday, we're up like over 140%. Payouts in the limited age were up over 150%. But you mentioned some things. Opportunities are huge. You know, you've got limited open or limited kind of trainers that are not quite on the cusp of being those superstars in our sport, but are working hard. Have got a barn full of horses, great horses, and customers, and they can actually bring every horse in the barn and be competitive.
Well, to me, I don't know. I'm pretty hard-headed in about the way I've done things as a professional here. Like I've always been very fortunate. I've had a barn full of amateurs, so they put me on the road to come here, and I'd come and I'd showed one horse, and you'd see a lot of guys showing a bunch of horses, but they were good horses, so I'd show them too. I didn't have that horse that I felt could compete at that level, so I just didn't want to walk down there for the fun of it. I've shown a bunch, and I just didn't want to walk down there to walk down there.
Well, that's not good for your customers. You know, your customers depending on you to go down there and at least not win every time.
Yes, sir.
But sure make it worth their while.
Yeah, and so I'd bring that one horse and I'd show him, and then I'd sit around for a week watching the other guys show. Where now, if you're in that intermediate group or that limited group, you can bring 4, 5, 6 horses that can compete at that level, especially that limited level, and advance and move forward and get confident showing. And as a professional trainer or horseman, confidence is everything. If you lack confidence in the show pen, then you're standing still. Whether you're good or not, you have to be confident in what you're doing and trust yourself to do it. And you only get that by walking to the herd and trusting your instincts, because in 2.5 minutes you got to go off instincts. You don't have time to think about it, and you only get the instincts by doing it repetition. And this allows them guys to come and show. I mean, me and Taryn were talking about it the other day during the 4-year-old. Like some of these limited guys that you'll see at weekend shows a lot and do good, come to an aged event and climb up a little bit and get nervous just because they haven't had the consistent showing at the aged event. We watched him here the other day. Show the first one, be a little nervous. Show the second one's better, and by the time he's on his 3rd or 4th horse, he's showing. And maybe a 72 type horse that he just goes and shows the crap out of and marks a sure solid 2 or 3 on, and that builds. And the next cutting, he'll feel like he can, and maybe he enters up because of that confidence, and his owner gets confidence in him and allows him to enter up. And all that's the entries and participation and the sport growing and moving forward.
And those speaking from the owner's perspective, you know, this is a hobby.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we've all got to have fun. You know, we depend on guys like this to take our horses from ground up and get them to that superstar potential, or as high as they can possibly go. And that takes lots of walking to the herd. Yes. And confidence is something that you have to instill in your amateurs, not only whether they're just owners owning a horse or they're going to show. You've got to teach that confidence to them as well.
Yeah, yes, sir, no doubt. I mean, any sport or anything, it's competitive driven. You have to be comfortable with what you're doing and confident in what you're doing to succeed. And the level you want to succeed at is up to you for sure. But most of the open trainers and non-pros here, even non-pros and amateurs, are business people, and they've succeeded in business. So they have a competitive drive. Mm-hmm. They do this because they're competitive. And I know trainers, I mean, we're as competitive group as any professional athlete you'll ever see. And so the drive we have to succeed and move forward is outstanding, and just the opportunity to do it is what we need.
Well, that's what we've done here, and I think that's what we've done here at the Cotton Stakes. Miss Ora, Miss Denise, and Robert Charles, everybody put lots of confidence on the line, and I think that it's paid off. Now it's naturally it's gonna need to be tweaked. Anything needs to be tweaked.
Yeah, I mean, that's anything moving forward, and I think that's whereas us as an organization, we need to look at being more open-minded. What makes the sport better, and grow, and instead of being bullheaded and saying, well, we've done it this way for 40 years, let's stick with it. And times have changed, and we need to move forward. And Robert Charles is, I've known Robert Charles since I was shown in the youth, and he's always been a great individual. But the respect I have for him after this deal is unheard of. The way he stood, and he's took gut punches and face punches, and stood there and took them and smiled and said, well, we're going to try it to help, and if it helps, great, and if not, we tried, because we're trying something new. And I'm so happy this worked for him. And whether this is what we build on as an organization go forward, or we go back and we tweak a lot and maybe figure out it didn't work in the way we thought it would, for him to stand up and do what he did is awesome, I think.
It's amazing. You know, Robert Charles, our hats are off to you. You know, this, I can't tell you, just like you said, I can't tell you how much we appreciate Robert Charles Brown actually having the intestinal fortitude to try this, and I'm so happy that it's paid off for him.
Yeah, no, I mean, because we were at the convention, and it's come up at the convention, and Robert Charles was in the age event committees and talking about shows dropping and how do we get better. And you know, I knew his shows were struggling a little bit over here just because of entry numbers and everything else. So I kind of approached him one day at the convention, and he said that he was actually going to come to us that day. So it worked out good that we all kind of, our heads banged together at the same time, and it was an easy thing to build. I mean, it was hard for sure, and Miss Gwen is about like Robert Charles. I mean, she's as special as they come too. So it was hard for them to figure the new system out, I guess you could say.
Yep, the new fast track system.
But the setup of it and everybody getting along to do it was easy. Like,
they're a great team.
You know, I mean, conference calls that were 10 minutes long to an hour long, and everybody's happy when you get done and moving forward, and that's what we need for everybody.
Oh yeah, I've stepped in Gwen Coley's office a few times since I got here yesterday, and you know, God bless her. She is busy.
Oh, yes,
she's busy, but she's got it figured out.
Yeah, I walked in the first day, and she said, "Man, I don't know whether to hug you or punch you." So I was like, "Well, you can do either, but we're doing good." So
well, these other secretaries around the country, talk to Miss Coley. Maybe not over the next couple of days, but after she gets her little rest, talk to Gwen Coley, and because she is a staple that has kept this whole thing together and working like clockwork, like a greased wheel. This thing is moving great.
It's like there's bumps, but all in all, we've done really good. If no major catastrophes, especially for a whole new setup. You know, I mean, from 0 to nothing. You know, so to come out from not having any idea how this was going to work, and for the entries to turn out the way they did, and the excitement here. You come to the Cuttin, whether you're here at 8 in the morning or 3 in the morning, finishing at the weekend show, you're happy to be here. You know, I mean, there's people that are tired for sure, not getting a lot of sleep, but everybody's in a pretty good mood.
Hey, well, then we'll get lots of sleep when we get home.
Yes, sir.
All right, Casey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kitty.
Appreciate you.
It.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
You.
Yeah, have a good show.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. That was a great explanation on your insight into the class leveling there at the Cotton Stakes. Robert Charles Brown has always done a great job putting on a week-long series of weekend cuttings every night. Now, we're going to show you some highlights from the 25,000 novice class. Here we are at the Cotton Stakes Classic, West Monroe, Louisiana, at the Ike Hamilton Event Center. The weekend classes are a big hit every night at this show. This is your 25,000 novice horse class, which are all your open riders showing those horses that are eligible. First up, Chris Hansen, Too Hot to Copy. Chris is driving them out there, seeing what's going to give him an opportunity. Looks like it's going to be that white cow. Gets his hand down. Chris is from Millsap, Texas. He's won over $784,000. Too Hot to Copy is won $38,000, almost $39,000, with an eligibility for this class for 2018 of $4,200. And they are a good pair. They finished up on that white cow and going to go back to the herd and get number 2. Chris may be in Gainesville, Texas now. I know he was in Millsap, but he may be in Gainesville, Texas now, which is just up north of Dallas-Fort Worth, almost the Oklahoma line. Chris looking at that Charlet. Too hot to copy. Big stopping little horse. Kind of a fast Charlet. Ain't scared to get its tail up in the air, get across that pin. Chris hanging with it a little bit longer. 30 seconds left on the clock. And he decides that's good enough. Time to go get back and get that last cow. Gonna chip that black one out, finish up his run. 15 good seconds on the clock. Show the judge something Too Hot can copy and him can accomplish in the 25,000 novice horse class. Chris is working this black cow. 2 seconds left, 1 second. What a way to finish up the run. Judges gotta like that. Well, I say judges. Unlike the aged event, this is a one judge weekend class. So they're gonna mark him.
Score for Too Hot to Copy.
Gonna have to be a decent score. It was nice, 74. That's gonna take him up to the top of the class right there. This is Kenneth Miller. I thought Kenneth was from Batesville, Mississippi, but he's from Valley View, Texas now. Riding a horse called Ruby Shadow Cat, owned by Michael Kemna of Valley View, Texas. Ruby Shadow Cat's won almost $130,000 lifetime earnings, but eligibility for 2018's right at $4,900. Kenneth has won almost $150,000 in the show pen. And he's looking at that black baldy, gets his hand down and goes to work. Nice stopping horse. Not a bad cow. Gets him a spot to get off right when it stops honoring him just a tad. That cow just kind of turned away and quit looking at him and didn't really want to honor his horse at that point. Kenneth is kind of looking at another black baldy here. Gets his hand down, goes back to work. So far he's liking them black baldies. Looky here, looky here. Ruby Shadow Cat got a little shake and shimmy going on. The judges like that. The crowd's always like that. His turn back help's doing him a real good job. And Kenneth gets off that one, going to finish up with his last cow. Good time management. 30 seconds as he's walking back to the herd. Might end up getting one cut with right at 18 to 20 seconds on the clock, which is perfect. He's looking at another black baldy. I think Kenneth's just going to get all the black baldies out of the herd for the rest of them. And it wasn't a bad choice so far. Kind of a fast cow, but a good way to finish up on Michael Kemna's horse from Valley View, Texas. Really nice horse. Marked him a 71. Well, here's $1 million rider, Mr. Jonathan Rogers, riding Ray's Karma. Ray's Karma's won $26,000 and some change. Jonathan's won $1,240,000. He's going to look at this dark gray cow. get his hand down, and that showed a lot of bravery to those judges when he's still got traffic and gets his hand down. So they're liking this so far. Let's see how this little gray cow is going to do him. Finds him a spot to get off. Right about that time, that gray cow kind of stops honoring him and starts looking to the back of the arena. Race Karma's eligibility for 2018 is $1,000 and some change. Jonathan's got this red mott in the middle of the pen. Looky here, looky here. Race Karma setting back on his hocks. The $1 Million Rider's doing a great job sitting there right in the middle of the pen, showing those judges what his horse can do. And that's the way you do it right there. Jonathan's going back in there to finish up. Jonathan's from Rockdale, Texas, riding this horse for Sweet Blessings Ranch out of Dripping Springs. He's gonna trot up there and get his third cow cut. He likes that black. Darn red one jumped out there in the game, but it's out and he's got his hand down. Race Karma's dialed in. The black cow's a touch soft, but he's still going to get to finish up in good shape.
Score for Race Karma, Jonathan Rogers is 73.
They marked him a 73. Next up is Mr. Eugene Bale. All his friends call him Dale Bale on Dream a Little. Little history on this man. He used to run with a good friend of mine named Keith Barnett back in the day. And I believe Dale Bell was second behind Smart Little Lena on a horse named Terry's Catalyst back in 81, 82. And he is no stranger to this pen. He's got that milk nose crossbred out there in front of him. Dale's won close to $1 million in the show pen. Dream a Little. Lifetime earnings and eligibility is about $4,600. Just kind of getting started showing, but what a guy to get started with. He's riding this horse for Charlotte Farms. Dale's from Lake Kiowa, Texas. He's got this white cow cut in the middle of the pen. Dream a Little's doing that deal in the middle of the pen for the judges. All I can say here is old guys rock. Dale Bell's one of our heroes in this sport. He's been around and done everything twice. I'll tell anybody coming in the sport, anytime you can go ride with one of these fellas, do it 2 or 3 times if you can. Dale's gonna finish up with this black cow in the middle of the pen. Dream a Little's a very animated horse. Ears forward, looking hard and sharp. Just showing the judges everything they want to see. And for a horse that doesn't have that much money earned, that was a nice looking horse. underneath Dale Bell. Marked him a 72. Next up's Chris Hansen on Mama's Stylish Sophie. We saw Chris show Too Hot to Copy earlier. Chris won $785,000. Mama Stylish Sophie's won $67,000, but $0 for eligibility, so they may have had her off for a year. He's got this black cow cut in the middle, black baldy. Chris doing a good job. Shows the horse very well. Trains the horse very well. Really has come on the last few years and made them pay attention to him. Gets off that ring-eyed bald, he's going to look for him another one. Yep, Jonathan Rogers talking to him about some cattle. A little deep in the herd, so they're talking about what's still fresh. Just like us amateurs and non-pros, they depend on their colleagues to help them keep an eyeball on what's fresh. You may be looking at that Charlet that's kind of putting itself at the back end of the flow. That's what he's doing. He'll get his hand down and go to work. The flow is kind of how they refer to those cattle, whether they're going left or right. And the last cow at the end of the flow is generally what they're going to cut. Horse a big stopper, strong looking horse. Judges like that. Chris is going to go in there and finish up on this baldy. 12 seconds left. Lots of time to show the horses to the judges. Good cow. Right in the middle of the pen. Good way to finish up a run right there. I guarantee you. We'll see what the judges think about that. That had to be pretty strong. Yep, as a 75. That's about, it's got to be the strongest one in the class so far. Next up, Mr. Mike Wood from Scottsdale, Arizona, riding Candy Girl. Candy Girl belongs to Sendero Ranch from Lac La Biche, Alberta, Canada. Mike Wood has won near $2 million in the show pen. Started off his career working for the great Al Dunning there in Scottsdale. Candy Girls won $52,000. He's got this black mott. And he is a true showman. He'll show it to you right now. Doing everything he's supposed to do right in the middle of the pen. Might have had a little bit of a miss right there. Got off that black mott. Going back in. Come all the way from Arizona to Louisiana to show in these Cotton Stakes Classic nighttime cuttings. But that's just something you do when you're leading the world. His black headlights, what he's going to push out there and throw his hand down on. Candy Girl dialed in. Right in the middle of the pen. Doing that deal. Impressing those judges. But he's been doing that all year. That's why he's leading the world in 2 different classes. I believe Candy Girl may be leading the world in this 25 novice class. And then he's got another horse, I believe, leading the $5,000 novice class. But Mike Wood is always going to be at the top of his game in the world standings. He's going to finish up with this black mott. Show the judges how they do it in Arizona. Well, they marked him let's see what they mark him. He's already looking at the cattle because he's going to be showing the very next horse. They marked him a 71 on Candy Girl. Mike Woods mounted on his second horse in a row, Little Jackson Cat, owned by Dawn Chapman, Chandler, Arizona. Dawn and her family own a car dealership there in Chandler. Been a great client of Mike's for a number of years now. Little Jackson Cat has won almost $185,000 to date, lifetime earnings. Mike, again, has won almost $2 million. He's driving the herd up here. Looking at that black one, getting ready to get his hand down, show the judges why he drove all the way from Arizona to Louisiana to the Cotton Stakes Classic. Probably one of the finest showmen going up and down the road. Always going to be in the top 15, always going to be bringing some clients to Fort Worth to the World Finals. Gets off that black one, headed back to the herd to get his second cow on Little Jackson Cat. Little Jackson Cat started off the year in 2018 with an eligibility of right at $22,000, which kept him eligible for this $25,000 novice class. Doesn't matter what their lifetime earnings are, it's what their eligibility is based on last year's hauling. Traffic clears, he gets his hand down, and he's showing the judges why he drove from Arizona. Little Jackson Cat, ears forward, powerful, strong, just doing a good job on a tough cow. Mike's going in for his last one. Great time management, but again, he's won $2 million. Can't expect anything less than that. Got him a black cow cut, finishing up, strong, getting over there and hitting a big stop. Finishes up his run pretty darn strong. Marked him 73.5. Good job, Mike Wood and Little Jackson Cat.
Just a second, we're down here on the arena floor and we have a special award presentation to make. But before I make that award presentation, I want to take the time to thank everyone that's here cutting this week for coming out and helping us. We want to thank all the open riders, the non-pro riders, and all the amateurs for being here. The leveling deal is the first time out, and y'all played a part in the success that this will be hopefully down the road, and we all know that there's things to tweak in it, and we do appreciate your input, and we hope that you'll maintain a positive attitude and give us your input on how to make it better for future shows. There's a couple people that had made a major contribution to all this. Aura and Denise here standing on my right, we thank them for all their efforts and their families for their dedication and sacrifice for the time that they put in. And we thank Mr. Billy Clapper for continuing to make the spurs that we give out for awards. But most of all, the two people that we want to thank here today are Mr. Robert Charles Brown and Gwen Cooey for their efforts. Gwen worked hard and diligently in the office and trying to figure it out as being the first guinea pig to do our leveling. And Robert Charles put up a little bit extra money to hopefully make everybody happy. And he's been a dedicated friend to all of you for many, many years, and he appreciates, no doubt as I do, the support that you all showed for this. And so we have a special award that Mr. Billy Clapper is going to give Robert Charles for having the intestinal fortitude to do this here at the leveling. Mr. Billy Clapper, if you would, he signed his gift, and it's a gift to show that Robert Charles had the courage, for a lack of a better word, the courage to do the leveling here at the Cotton Stakes. Mr. Billy, if you'd give that to Robert Charles at this time. And we have a gift for Gwen, I believe. And we appreciate Gwen's effort and for sure the time that she's put into all this. A nice bracelet for Gwen. And again, congratulations to both of them for receiving their gift, especially Robert Charles for having the intestinal fortitude to do all this. And again, a very big thank you to all the cutters that came and helped us here at the leveling at the Cotton Stakes. Thank you all very much for being here.
Great job, Great job.
Hi, I'm Marcy DiGregorio from Redmond, Oregon. Cuttin' Up will be right back after these messages on Farm and Ranch TV.
The rural American lifestyle. It's how we work, and it's how we play. It's how we learn and how we enjoy the finer things in life. How we take care of our animals and tend to the land. It's a way of life. Has been for hundreds of years. Now there's a whole new way for rural America to watch TV. Hey everybody, thanks for watching Farm and Ranch TV. I know you've just picked an episode of one of our great programs that you want to watch. First thing I want to do is ask you is no matter how you're watching Farm and Ranch TV, whether it's Roku or Chromecast or Android TV or a website, or there's so many different ways to watch us now, go rate us. Go back to your home page, rate us, tell your friends about us. Now, enjoy your show.
Yeah, I'm Billy Bob Moore from Buffalo, Texas. Welcome back to Cuttin' Up.
Well, here we are at the Cotton Stakes in West Monroe, Louisiana with my good friend Gabe Reynolds. Gabe.
Hey, Kenny.
Hey, man, thank you for talking to us.
You're welcome.
What do you think about this new class leveling concept?
I think it's great. And I think the entries reflect that. I mean, we're up 142% on entries. It's more than double than what it was the previous year, so I think it's a no-brainer.
Well, so the excitement factor is there. We brought in more people, more entries, paying out more checks. I mean, that was like up 150% too.
Yeah.
But I think the excitement factor, plus you've got, Robert Charles, Gwen Coey, Ordeal, Denise Size, you guys, talking about this as we were building it up, saying, hey, it's excitement. We're going to give it a try. Let's show up. And people showed up.
They did. And you can literally see just in the one show how things have been stimulated and things are growing. And like you said, we paid out more checks. I think in the 4-year-old last year, they paid out 14 checks. This year, they paid out almost 48.
Yeah, right at 50. I mean, it's amazing.
There's 28 more happy clients and trainers and stuff. And I think I was telling Ori yesterday, I think it'll snowball to the next show. You've got younger guys and younger horses doing really well. Owners now that are motivated by that to move on to the next show and hopefully the next one. So I think it's just going to get better.
Well, like for instance, I've got a good friend of mine, Cass Tatum, that works for Lloyd. Won the 4-year-old limited open the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, and Cass he's a great young man, great horse trainer, great cow doctor. I mean, I've doctored cattle with him in the past.
Yeah.
But opportunities that were presented to him, and he was able to capitalize on those opportunities that this leveling system afforded him.
Yeah, and I think with the intermediate involved, there were more people that attended, so therefore there was enough limited riders to have their own separate final. For a guy like Cass to show and to go around and then get final experience, I thought that was awesome. They had that 4-year-old limited final right here, which normally at these shows they don't have enough limited riders to make the class, to have enough horses to have a final.
Oh yeah, pencil out or something.
It's just a on paper final. So I thought that was great. They got their own final. He ended up, I think he was reserve or champion, one or the other. And then same with the intermediate riders. We had our own final for the 4-year-old 2 nights ago, and it was great. It was really well supported.
Well, I know that as any new venture, you know, I don't think I've ever bought a new car and didn't have to go back to the dealership to get something tweaked.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be some tweaks, but the excitement factor is what the sport needed, and that's what the class leveling system here at the Cotton Stakes in West Monroe brought. The excitement factor. It gave us some more opportunities for these up and coming trainers to get some of that experience. Now guys like Cass Tatum, you know, he's got a whole new he's got a whole new attitude walking to the herd in Fort Worth because he's got this under his belt.
Yeah, and I remember it was the same way for me, you know, in certain times I'd be at a show maybe 10 years ago and I'd win the limited or something there, and you kind of walk around the show and people talk to you different. They give you a little more respect and they start
Champ.
They know your name all of a sudden.
Champ.
It's great.
Listen, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kenny.
Man, we're looking forward to the next one, and kudos again to Robert Charles, Miss Gwen, Miss Aura, Denise Size. I can't go, the list goes on. People that got behind this with the blood, the sweat, the time, the tears. You know, it's just amazing, and happy to be here.
Yep.
Look forward to the next one.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Got a 3-year-old Kit Kat Sugar Gilding out of a Halracious mare. I purchased this horse about 3 months ago. This is another situation where he was green. They wanted to cull him basically, so I bought him thinking I might make a rope horse out of him, but I got to working him and he cuts really, really well. So he's came on, he's still a little bit green, but he fits my deal extremely well.
I've had an opportunity to work this horse a time or two, and he's definitely not a cull in the cutting pen. He's going to go on, and my opinion, he's a borderline open Fort Worth kind of a horse. He's really got a lot of good things about him. He stops hard. He gets real wide behind, gets real low. I think that there's a bunch of good stuff, and that's where, you know, we'll come up with these horses that are kind of sleepers. You know, we'll find them, and that's where, as a customer, you can kind of come in and maybe buy a horse like this where it's not $150,000. You know, we can find a caliber of horse like this we're going to make money, and you're going to save money by buying a horse like this. So it's good for everybody.
So if you notice, old Shrimp here lives up to his name. He's not very big, and I think that's one of the reasons I got him. But if you know, over the loin and around his hind end there, he is so strong for a little horse that it's unbelievable, and he just moves. He moves so good you don't even know that he's this small. But he's a neat little horse. He's real cowy. Like I say, he moves really good. Wants to stop real wide, and I really like this colt. So the reason I fell in love with this little horse is he's real cowy, and he's just real easy for him to move, and you know, and he's just really taken to my program really good. He's came a long ways. You know, like I say, he's a little bit green, but he's caught up like so much, and without very much done to him, other than just kind of showing him a cow and trusting him a little bit. So these cows are going to be a little bit close today. Probably going to help him out quite a bit if I can. He's got great intentions. Great intentions.
You know, Bubba's able to turn him loose a lot, even in this bad situation, or just tip his nose and help him a little. And when he slaps his hand down, you know, he's got big old slack loops in those reins. And
like riding him, you wouldn't realize he is this little. He's just so strong. He was a little late coming through there because I make him wait so much when I'm working him round, or he's not used to all this pressure, but you can see how much better this colt's gotten. He's working his ears better. He's getting over here and getting stopped better, quicker to it. And he's wanting to like get out there and go gather that cow up. And you can feel him read and rate. Won't be no time. And he'll have that timing down.
Watch this, the way this horse is, he's paying attention to Bubba, but his ears are always flicked towards that cow. He's always looking up there towards that cow. That's, to me, that's what I look for, number one thing. And then I like how this horse spreads his hind legs out and stops. He works real level. Doesn't just have his head on the ground, but he works real level. He's not high-headed at all, but can still stop hard. And that's a really important.
The cows are a little bit tricky.
Pretty nice kind of a 3-year-old, especially for July. Bad situation working flat. Horse has just good intentions. The horse seems good-minded enough too, that talented enough to go in the open, but you could buy this horse and be looking at a top 5er and a non-pro amateur. That's one good thing about him as a 3-year-old. He's just really, really good-minded. And when Bubba picks him up and comes back and trains on him, the horse comes right back to it. Horse is always gathered up. He's thinking about that stop, thinking about getting in there and stopping. Really good stuff. He's getting an awful good work on this horse. That's what I like right there. He comes right back to it and just gets classy, low, thinking about it. Really good. Really good. This horse doesn't have to go very fast to mark a lot.
That's good. Getting out there, he handled them cows pretty good. Really good, actually. We've worked these cows quite a bit here this morning, so they're a little close, and he let me pull on him and kept cutting. I'm pretty happy with him right there. Another 30 days, he'll be a different horse. Don't you think, Matt?
This horse will be ready to show by September. If a guy wanted to take him to little futurities, be no problem. But to me, he looks like he's got the talent to go to Will Rogers. Good job, Bubba.
I don't know what he looks like. He feels good in spots.
Well, like I was saying, this horse looks really good. Every time you do something to him and then put your hand back down, he locks a hold of that cow.
Yeah.
And when he stops wide, but he's not going to have to go very fast to mark a lot.
No, and he's going to show a lot more expression once he gets trained a little bit more.
Right.
Because you can watch his ears. They're kind of on me and on the cow on me, and he's not quite sure. Am I supposed to go, or are you going to help me? It don't bother me at all where he's at. Honestly,
I think he looks right on track.
I've had some way further along than this that just stayed the same, and I've had horses like him that gradually build up and just get better and better and better all the way up to the to the futurity or to a small futurity.
Yep, I agree.
I agree. Just one of those horses. He just, like I said, he's just got really, really good intentions. There's not nothing in there that's telling you I don't want to.
Right. Good deal. You can contact me at 281-795-7405, or you can get me on Facebook at Budge Performance Horses, LLC.
You can contact me at 817-458-2024. You can find me on Facebook at Matlock Performance Horses. Leave a message.
The biggest thing is if you have some interest in a horse, pick up the phone and give us a call. We can talk to you, and we want to sell you another horse one of these days. So pick up the phone, and we're going to shoot straight with you. Try and get you on a horse that you like.
And if we don't have it, we'll find it.
Well, here we are at the Cotton Stakes at the West Monroe, Louisiana, at the Ike Hamilton Event Center, and I'm here with Jesse Pritchard. Jesse, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Now, you just did something pretty special. You won the 4-year-old Limited Open, and Cass Tatum was reserved right behind you, and you guys had that not been a limited class, within a class kind of deal in the leveling system available to you, do you think it would have turned out the same way, or do you think the leveling system made it kind of an even playing field for a lot of you guys?
It leveled it out. It made a difference and helped us. It gave us a little more of an opportunity to get to where we ended up at.
Okay, and your clients' horses, they benefited because, they got to get over the winner's circle right along with you.
Right. They were all happy about that.
So, if you have to look at the leveling system, that they're using this as a pilot program, the Cotton Stakes, for the leveling system. Granted, everything's got its goods and its bads, and that's why we're here doing this, so they can kind of tweak it a bit. Overall, when you see a full parking lot, full stall barns, the excitement of this leveling system, what's your take on it?
I think it's good. It's going to give us more opportunities to show our horses, and if we got a really good horse, we can enter in all three, and if we got a horse that's not quite open caliber in the big open, we can show it in those intermediate classes and have a shot.
And are you seeing that? I think we've talked about this with a number of people, but the increases that this show has seen over last year are phenomenal. Double, almost triple what they had last year.
Right. It's a lot bigger than it was last year. Well, drew a lot more people in.
They filled up every stall that the event center's got, and had to use, I think there's 60 stalls available over in Monroe that people are having to use.
Right.
And the weekend cutting, 400 and I want to say almost 450 entries just in the weekend cutting, not to count the well over 700 entries in the limited age. As of yesterday, there was over 1,200 entries at this show, and that's just the excitement's, the buzz is in the air.
Right, correct.
Now, are you feeling that with your colleagues, just like the amateurs and non-pros are feeling it?
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of excited about it, but there needs to be some tweaks, and
sure,
this was just a trial run, but I think in the end it'll work. Well,
as long as you guys, as well as the amateurs and the non-pros, will participate in helping Denise and Aura and the NCHA make those tweaks, I think this is a home run, and it's great for the industry.
Yep, I agree.
Well, congratulations again on your win in the 4-year-old Limited Open, and we look forward to seeing you keep on with that momentum.
All right,
thank you, Jesse.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, that's it from here at West Monroe, Louisiana. Big thank you to everybody here, Robert Charles Brown, Miss Ora Dill, Miss Denise Size, Miss Gwen Coey, everybody, the cutters. They showed up and just made such a statement. The buzz is alive in our sport. Let's keep the momentum going. I'm Kenny Imai, your host of Cuttin' Up from West Monroe, Louisiana. Thank you for joining us.
All right, this is Russ Elrod and Talking About Bits. I'm from Terrebonne, Oregon. This here, I call it the S-prong. It's one of my favorite bits. One of the things that I really like about this bit is it has a lot of feel. It's not like a normal prong where the prongs are kind of sharp and you can make a horse bleed easy with it. This bit here has got a wider port, a taller port, and you know, as you can see on the ends, they're just kind of rounded blunts. So you can pull on a horse in this bit a little bit and you're not going to make that horse bleed. So, you know, like with these horses that we show in the weekends that have been hauled up and down the road and shown a lot, you know, when your correctional bit doesn't quite get the job done for you anymore, or maybe the baby elephant, I like to go to something like this to where, you know, I can still be soft with my hands, but I don't have to be so careful that I'm gonna, you know, cause some injury to a horse's mouth. You know, like I like this bit because it does have the shank and it gives me a little leverage, which allows me to be soft. I like it because, you know, where the head stall attaches into the mouthpiece, it's not real long. I don't like bits like that. I don't think they sit in a horse's mouth correctly. And, you know, and with this right here, I can get a little quicker pull. But this here is one of my favorite bits. I have another one that I had made just like it. The only difference is I got swivel side cheeks on it. But this bit here, when I go to Fort Worth and show, I'll even hang it on a 3-year-old. It's something that's gonna have some whoa, but it's not gonna scare a horse. On this bit, I also have a chain curb strap. I like the curb chain straps better. I have them on all my bits just because, you know, like I feel like I can get them adjusted how I want that chin strap to sit on that horse a lot better than a leather curb chain. A lot of times they're too short, you know, or you can't get them tight enough. So I like these rope where it fixes to the bridle. It's got a you know, little piece of rope and just the single chain chin strap. For my reins, I like 5/8 reins, you know, and I like the double stitch reins. I like to have a little weight to my reins, so, you know, when I'm neck reining that horse around, there's enough leather there and weight there that they can feel that coming across their neck. I'm Russ Elrod. Thanks for talking a bit. Thanks for watching Cuttin' Up.
The Talking a Bit segment is designed to let you know what trainers consider to be their favorite bit and what their uses are. Be sure and talk with your trainer to see what bit works best for you and your horse.
Bill and Greg were about 16. They'd leave the doors open. They'd come in the front door and leave it open, go out the back door and leave it open. Well, we had 4 coming 2-year-old Buffalo bulls staying around the house. And I kept telling them, I said, boys, if y'all don't close them doors, them buffalo could get in the house where it's cool. I've told them that several times. I sent some buffalo heads to get them mounted, like this steer head, and some ropes to be tamed. And the guy rings me, and he wants his money out of them buffalo heads. Wants me to come right now and get them. So I get in the car, and I go to Abilene and get them. And I back the car up to the yard gate and raise the trunk and take the buffalo heads in the house. And in a little bit, I see Bill coming, rubbing sleep out of his eyes. He's coming from the bunkhouse. And I run and grab one of these buffalo heads, and I can watch Bill in that reflection. Well, as he starts in that door, I let that buffalo head run out a little. Boy, he whirls and leaves. And I put the buffalo head down, and I go out, and I say, Bill, them buffalo are in the house. He said, I saw one. And I said, listen, we had terracial floor. I said, they get that slick slide around, and this furniture was in there. And he knew I thought a lot of it, you know. And I said, they'll wreck that furniture. And so I said, if you'll move that car, I'll go back in there and see if I can get the other side of it. And then when you come in, you go to the other side, and we'll try just to drift them out this door without scaring them. So he comes tiptoeing back out, and just as he gets in the door, I run that buffalo head out. Boy, he whirled away. And he got on that, and he'd crawl to that window and peek through it, and I'd stay outside. He'd start in that door. Finally, I let him come down that hall about halfway, and I run that buffalo head out toward him. He whirled, leaving there, running so hard, and I've run him a little ways. He didn't look back. I bet he run 100 feet up that road or further. He said, you know, it's amazing what your imagination can do. He said, I felt that buffalo breathing on my back. He said it was hot.
Man, it's always great to hear and see a legend like Buster Welch. Thank you, Buster, for that moment with. I want to say a big thank you to Midway Forage. Remember, no GMOs, no preservatives, all natural, some of the finest alfalfa cubes you can feed your performance horse at Midway Forage. To find a dealer, go to www.midwayforage.com. Be sure and join us right here next week. This is where we'll be cutting up.
Separation is the game. Watch those legs go 2.5 is the frame. If you can't cut it, move out the way. Let me in there, get out my way. Got me a cutting horse and we have style. We have technique, we're gonna dance a while. Dance, dance, cutting horse dance. To the left, to the right, cutting horse dance. Bounce, bounce, the cutting horse dance. Left, right, let's dance. Let's dance. Dance, dance, cutting horse dance. To the left, to the right, cutting horse dance. Bounce, bounce, the cutting horse dance. Left, right, let's do it again.
Be sure and go to Cuttin Up TV's Facebook page and like us.